Rogan Report podcast. Check it out.
All things Joe Rogan by day. Rogan Report podcast by night. All day. All night. Half hour to an hour-ish episodes once a week.
The Rogan Report podcast.
All right, Shane, welcome to episode 41 here. A lot to talk about today.
Yeah, totally. Lots of news. Fucking
Joe Rogan.
topics.
Yeah, of course. Some music stuff as well. We had some music in the last episode, so we're keeping that rolling with this episode. Going to add a couple songs in.
Totally. I listened back, and it was pretty sweet to hear the music in there with it.
I listened back as well, and I was disappointed with the levels. I feel like I would have spent some time just working on editing that a touch.
Yeah.
I think it would have been better. But yes, it is. I think overall, it is nice to have some music in the episode.
Totally, yeah. Breaks it up a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So let's go through the table of contents, things we're going to talk about today. Of course, on right off the topic, we'll get into some news stories. I want to talk about the UCP, not UPC. It's very easy to say universal price code,
That's
but
right.
no, we're talking about the conservative cunts that are running
Which is
our...
the United Conservative Party of
Correct.
Alberta.
That's
that
right.
We talk
And,
about in particular.
So we will talk about them. There's a new trend, asshole sunning or perennium sunning.
They call it perennium sunning.
Yeah, they're trying to be nice. They're trying to put a little cherry on top of that shit
I like to
sundae.
call it asshole sunning, which is what it is.
Sunning. All right,
Yeah.
and Edmonton's Robin Hood of Nuggets. That's fun.
Absolute
Disney
hero of his time. Yep.
Shane, wait until I'm done talking before you start talking.
Yes,
if you
fair
talk
enough.
over top of me, that's going to cause all kinds of problems for me. And again, I had problems editing the last one.
Fair
I'm
enough.
drunk already, so I can't expect me to edit this one well if you don't stop talking over top of me.
Let's do it properly.
All right. So, yes, that Disney's new streaming service and The Mandalorian, which is on there. I've seen great feedback about that, and you love it.
Love it.
But we'll talk more about that later. JRE, of course, we're going to talk JRE. My favorite and your favorite of the most recent episodes was the latest, Firas Zahabi. Now you may speak, Shane.
He's a great dude. Great dude. Great podcast.
That was, yeah.
Great Canadian.
What a smart guy. And I love that he loves George St. Pierre as much as I do.
Yeah.
Dare I say more than I do?
Yeah, I'd say a fair bit more.
Probably.
Yeah.
So we'll talk a little bit about Firas Zahabi and maybe a little bit about some of the other Joe Rogan episodes that have happened.
Yeah.
Oh, Joe jokes. Do you have a Joe joke?
I've got a fucking Joe joke. Look, I'm not good at writing Joe jokes.
Okay.
I got to be honest. If writing jokes, period's hard. Writing jokes about Joe Rogan is almost impossible.
But
I don't know why it's so hard for me, but it's so hard.
it's anything under like it could be a joke about hunting.
Yeah.
It could be a joke about cars. It could be a joke about comedians. It could be a joke about podcasting. Like you can be pretty liberal with the definition of how
I was
it
liberal
relates.
this week.
Okay, well, I'm excited. I don't have one. I actually forgot to
Well,
write
that's
one.
fair because last time I didn't. So
But maybe I'll write one on the spot.
yeah.
On the spot, Joe Rogan, Joe joke.
That makes me excited. That we might get some gold.
We'll see. Probably not. And then, of course, the upcoming UFCs and such.
Yeah, I've got predictions for all those fights. I don't know.
And we tasted some Buffalo Trace whiskey. Maybe tasted is the wrong word. Maybe slammed or downed.
And drank a bunch
or
of.
drank a bunch of is more appropriate.
Yeah.
I definitely had some. I don't know if you guys can hear it in my voice. We had some holiday eggnog with Buffalo Trace bourbon and Cavassier cognac.
It's delicious.
Delicious. It's a great holiday treat.
It's delicious. I hate eggnog, but it was delicious.
But delicious with bourbon in it.
Yeah.
So we'll talk a little bit about bourbon and about your new passion for collecting whiskey.
Yeah, totally. I'm into whiskey, and I feel manly when I drink it.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
What's hair on your chest?
I don't have very many, too, so I have like 5.
Yeah, you need a few
Maybe
more.
I'll have 6 next week.
I hope so.
Yeah, me too.
So, right off the topic, let's talk about the UCP cuts.
Yeah.
So, God damn it, I hate the UCP. Not happy about this. I feel like they got elected because of racists just being like, yeah, they're the ones that hate fags too. I'm going to vote for those guys. But
100%. All they did was swing the pendulum as far the other fucking way as possible.
oh my God. And with no plan. That's like they're doing things that they didn't talk about in their platform. They're just seem to be shooting from the hip of their jeans and just making up how they want to run the province. I'm so mad about it.
You know
But-
what's the most disturbing is people defending it and like attacking teachers. Like teachers should be the ones taking this on the hip,
Good Christ.
taking this one
It's
like
shocking.
for
They're
the
like,
team. What?
Yeah. Oh, my God.
What are we doing?
Yeah, they're like, yeah, we needed to give away $4.5 billion to corporations because they're rich and they need the monies, but
Let
then
us take it
take
from
it from the teachers. They make $100,000 a year.
Yeah.
Ugh.
It's not like they're training our future or anything.
Yeah, it's not like they're
Jesus
only
Christ.
shaping the youth of tomorrow.
Fuck.
We need the youth of tomorrow, and we need them to be creative and happy and well-adjusted so that they can come up with solves for all of the problems that we've created. You know, of course, environmentally being sort of the biggest one that stands out to me, but also, again, just so they're not mugging me in an alley someday.
Exactly. And attacking, and also the students that are trying to take these courses. They're seeing fee hikes already. Like, my wife's taking courses here and she's experiencing that everything's jacked up, man.
Yeah.
Crazy jacked up.
It's not good. I shared an article on Facebook of that a teacher wrote about how the cuts were affecting her. The librarian at their school was cut, and they were cutting some other administrative positions and some kind of secondary teacher, the teacher assistant positions.
Mm-hmm.
And it was just making things a nightmare in that school for the students and the teachers. And teachers want to do a good job. They care about what they do. They don't do it because they can make $60,000 to $80,000 a year,
No.
$100,000 a year if they max out everything and become principals.
There's
They do
very
it-
little prestige there for
very,
them.
very little. And they do it, and they're working 10, 12 hours a day. And I think they get a rap, like people that don't work in the education industry think, oh, they have 2 months of vacation in the summer where they could just go and have the summers off. I wish I could have the summers
Yeah,
off.
totally.
When in fact they do work through the summers. They're constantly trying to develop lesson plans, and things for teachers are as hard now as they have ever been. Class size is the biggest we've ever seen. Of course, there's so much more learning categorization, I will say.
Right.
Like, just people with specifically, like, of course, all the different spectrums of what's the thing that you're on the spectrum when you have?
Autism.
Yeah,
and a bunch of different stuff. like-
Different spectrums of autism,
Yeah.
different spectrums of learning disabilities.
Yeah.
I feel like I have a little bit of a learning disability, especially when it comes to, I think maybe I'm slightly dyslexic. When I'm writing something out by hand, I have a real hard time of putting, getting ahead of myself, and I put letters that are coming up ahead of in the word first.
Right.
And I don't know if that's just, I don't know if that is dyslexism or if that's just me being a dumbass, but I have a really hard time writing things out by hand. If I'm writing a whole page out by hand, probably 2 or 3 times in the page, I'll screw up a word where I write the letter that's supposed to come later first because I get ahead of myself.
Yeah.
It's probably not dyslexism. It's probably just me being a dumbass.
Yeah.
But still, that is a problem that teachers have to deal with.
It's totally.
And it makes it hard for me if I'm trying to take notes off a blackboard. I'm slower at doing that than maybe some of my counterparts.
Right. Yeah. Oh, and it's only going to get worse with bigger class sizes and
Yeah. Less individual attention to students that have these problems
yeah.
is the real thing.
Yeah.
As
And
you
then the
increase
kids
class
that do
sizes.
have issues, they fall by the wayside, a lot of them, and some of them don't graduate. A lot of them don't.
You can really only teach to the middle of the class, sort of. You don't
Yeah.
have time to really help the gifted students, and
Right.
you don't have time to help the students that need the extra help. Yeah, it's just brutal.
Yeah, it's gross.
So that's something that I'm not happy about. That
And
is,
and for what? So that we can support this backward way of pumping oil out of the ground?
so that people that have $5 million can get $6 million.
so that the people that might actually change these technologies, they're not going to get there, some of them.
Yeah, we need creative solutions to fix this world, and we're not getting them from undereducated, unappreciated, ruined youth.
It's dark.
All right,
dark times in
to start it
Alberta.
off on a good note, positive note. Tell us about this asshole sunning.
I mean,
I'm not familiar, so I'm excited to learn
so
about this with our listeners.
I've heard about this on a few other podcasts this week, but so people basically, I mean, it's just like it sounds. You lay on your back, you hang onto your legs. If you're really flexible and you can do yoga, you grab your feet and you
Okay.
open that fucker up.
Now,
and
perineum is the taint, right? That's the
I
spot
guess, yeah.
between the balls and the asshole.
Yeah.
So is the point to get the sun on that spot specifically?
No, it's actually the asshole.
Oh, it
It's
is the
getting
asshole.
the sun in the asshole.
Okay, and you can
And
absorb it better there?
It's
or what's
supposed to, the equivalent of 30 seconds of sunning your asshole is supposed to be equal to walking around all day with your clothes on outside.
Is that right?
It's, I don't know if it's right. I'm definitely not putting my stamp of approval on
You've heard it here
sunning.
first. Shane believes wholeheartedly in sunning your
No,
asshole.
I mean, there's
does
other
it every
things to
day.
do with sun too. Have you ever heard about these people that stare at the sun and get energy that way? Well, the people that did that eventually
People
destroyed
that
their eyeballs.
lose their eyesight.
Yeah.
100%.
So, will you get more sun in your body by poking your bare ass at the sky? Probably.
Well,
Probably the fuck yeah.
okay.
I mean, your bare ass and legs are pointing at the sky.
Yeah, but
you're
why
getting-
can't you accept it just through the cheek like the cheek skin on your face when you
I don't
are
know.
out there?
This seems like some California shit, let's be honest.
Yeah, it does.
Who else is doing
But
butt
also,
sunning?
you said 30 seconds a day. Like, that's really a very minimal
It's very
commitment.
short to stick your ass up in the air.
Yeah,
but
I could do it.
could you imagine just walking past your neighbor's house and he's just pointing his starfish at you?
Does it work if it comes through a front window? Or do you have to be
all
in the outdoors?
All the photos I saw on the internet were outdoors, and they
Mm.
usually have really long hair. They're all dudes.
Okay.
They're
just- I mean-
definitely hipsters.
We're, minus 15 today outside in Edmonton, and I don't know that I can take
I don't know if it works in the winter.
It doesn't work in the winter? Even
don't know
on
if
a
it
sunny
does.
day?
I don't know if it does or doesn't, but I know that even being outside in the winter, it's not the same as being out in the summer. You're not getting the same shit from the sun that you would.
Well, you're just getting overall less sunlight. I wonder at the peak times if the UV index is higher in the summer than the winter or not.
It's a
Like,
crazy story, though.
In the winter, you also get reflection from the snow. So
That's right.
you can actually get like sunburned. Like I remember skiing and getting very badly sunburned
Well,
from all the reflection off the snow.
when you're driving in the winter, I feel like I need sunglasses more in the winter than I do in the summer driving.
Sure, there's that too.
Big time. So, but I don't think the reflected sunlight's necessarily as powerful as direct sunlight.
All right, Shane, let's get into a little bit about
It's really stupid anyway.
Let's talk about, one of my favorite songs. I learned over the past week, I've been working on learning a song,
Yeah.
and I'm almost there. And it's one of my favorite songs ever. It's by a guy named Dave Wilcox.
Yeah.
He's known for doing such party songs as Do the Bear Cat and Layin' Pipe.
I don't know either of those.
Actual real songs from the 80s by David Wilcox and his
They
rock
would be
band.
from the 80s.
Yeah, so he's known for his like kind of rock band shtick, but
Yeah.
what he really does best is he recorded this album called East Asheville Hardware that he recorded live in a hardware store in Asheville, which is in the States. And he wrote this song called East Asheville Hardware, the title track, and it just became quickly one of my favorite songs of all time. It's got such nice guitar in it. It's got it in drop D tuning, so it has kind of sort of an open feel throughout.
Okay.
And it's beautiful guitar, and it's just great content as well. Lyrically, it's just relevant for today, and I love the song. So let's play that song right now. I'll play you the David Wilcox version of it, and we can all listen and just have a good enjoy and kind of get our happy faces on for this song.
Sounds good. I'm excited.
An angel appeared in a holy vision, stood by my bedside in the shivering light, spoke my name, told me my mission. I could not believe I was hearing him right, 'cause he said, "Go, my son, go. Always go to East Asheville Hardware before you go to Lowe's." He said, "Go to East Asheville Hardware before you go to Lowe's. You'll help to keep them open. I'm worried they might close from the stiff competition from the national conglomerate with the full page ad in the color section of the Sunday paper supplement and stacks of plastic swimming pools and 7 brands of power tools and rows of registers all having nice days. But no, you go," he said to me with light around his face. He said, "You go first to that age-old place to to that old wooden door that you have to close behind you, to the wide board wooden floor worn down soft, to the real thing, the good advice, quality at the fair price, and know that they know how deep the frost goes here. And sure, there's stuff you'll have to find at Patey's, Lowe's, or Sears, but go to East Asheville Hardware. Go to East Asheville Hardware before it disappears.
Woo! What a great song.
What a great message.
Isn't it nice?
Yeah.
Man, there's imagery in that song like going the old wooden door that you have to close behind you. It just brings me back to, I grew up in a small town and going into the hardware store there, the wooden floors, and it really harkens back to a time when I was growing up with it, before this new age with all these crazy confounded electronic doors.
Totally. Even here in Edmonton, man, back in the day, things were different.
It's true.
100%.
Even if it's not an automatic door that opens for you, all doors now make sure that they shut behind you. You don't have to reach around other than house doors, obviously.
Yeah.
But, any business you go to, there's some kind of automatic closure.
It's
on
a
that
swing and go kind of thing.
door. Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is kind of crazy.
Yeah.
But that's one of my favorite songs. I just started learning it. I love the guitar in it. It's in a drop D tuning, and it just got such a cool kind of open feel. And yeah, one of my favorite songs right now. So thanks, David Wilcox. I'm going to try to get out and see you in the near future.
Great contribution, Reubs. I love
Thanks.
it.
Thanks, buddy.
Yeah.
So should we get into some Joe Rogan stuff now?
Let's do it.
Talk
I
a little
have
bit.
a couple more news things. Do you want to come back to that after?
I was wondering about, we kind of talked about some news. Now we could talk about some Joe Rogan. Maybe circle back to some of that.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay. So my favorite and your favorite of the recent episodes, the MMA Show 83 with Firas Zahabi.
Yeah.
So most famous as George St. Pierre's trainer.
Yeah.
He's the kind of head coach at TriStar Gym in Montreal.
Yeah.
And I loved this episode. I love that he said that George St. Pierre is the greatest martial artist of all time, because George St. Pierre is my number one favorite UFC fighter of all time, and he doesn't get touted as the best pound per pound fighter. He kind of was a little bit in the mix, but now pretty generally agreed upon as maybe the third or fourth or fifth best pound for pound fighter, behind Anderson Silva, Mighty Mouse is another one, and of course the kind of the guy who mostly gets that title is John Jones.
Yeah.
Right now.
Yeah.
But if you listen
best
to
martial artist?
if you listen to Firas Zahabi, and he says that now he's the best that he's ever been. And like they talked about in that episode, his last fight when he decided to go up to middleweight, he looked the best that he had ever looked before. He looked like he had gotten better from his previous fights.
Yeah.
And that I thought was, because most fighters, they take 2 years off. Forget about it. You have a thing called ring rust where there's no way you're able to compete at the same level.
Right.
We've seen it with Connor. We've seen it with a lot of fighters that take time off. But George looked better fighting Bisping than he did.
He fucked Bisping up.
Yeah,
It wasn't
he
even
totally
close.
did. The finish with the rear naked choke,
Yeah.
one of the best rear naked choke finishes that Joe Rogan has ever seen. His words.
Yeah.
The best. The way he had it locked up, normally you can finish a rear naked choke a lot of different ways. It doesn't necessarily have to be right under the chin. Doesn't necessarily have to be gripped correctly.
Yeah.
But George had it just nailed.
Yeah.
And Frost was saying that George loves training. He's still training. He's still ripped. He said that he thinks that he's like 38 or 39 years old, and he is like a 20-year-old in the way his body moves and the way he's able to, his fitness level is that of a 20-year-old.
He's just never stopped.
Yeah.
And he's always sharing his knowledge. And that's why he's the best martial artist, because he's sharing. And he's
the
always
best training partner they have at that gym.
Yeah.
He's only hurt like 3 people in the history of him training there. Hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of times training, sparring with people where you are hitting them in the face.
Yeah.
He's only ever hurt 3 people.
Yeah.
And of course they were accidental.
Totally,
it's hard to not hurt someone.
Yeah.
when you're hitting them in the face and you're trying not to hurt them. That's a difficult endeavor.
And he touched on that a little bit too. Like it's one thing to get through each fight. But the thing is, these fighters are training day in, day out. This shit's every day, these techniques they're doing to each other. So it's not just what happens during fights. I mean, that's actually kind of just the tip of the iceberg of their lives. You know?
Very true.
Yeah.
Very true.
So
I love that episode. Definitely highly recommend. Go back, listen to that episode. And if you're any kind of MMA fan or any kind of just fan of Canadiana in general, because really George St. Pierre is a part of our lexicon now of Canadian
totally.
history.
Well, and the last big UFC there, Kevin Lee kind of came back and knocked out Gregor Gillespie.
Yeah.
And he's been training with Firas Zahabi.
That's right. And Joe says that he has a very similar style to GSP. That's why it was based on Joe's recommendation that he go there, because Joe noticed that he has sort of a similar style and just similar, entrance into MMA that George St. Pierre had.
Yeah.
So
he's sort of wrestling based, but still with some really great striking.
Yeah. Big mix of all the skills.
Yeah.
And so it was on Joe's recommendation that he go and train with Firas. And
the best thing that's ever been told to Kevin Lee.
Yeah.
I hope he stays there and continues to move up, because Kevin Lee's a great story, man.
Absolutely.
Interesting guy to listen to on the mic as well.
100% agree.
Yeah.
Okay. What else do you want to talk about?
I liked Paul Stamets, and not necessarily this episode, because I've listened to Paul Stamets a few times.
Yeah, he's been on more than once for sure.
Yeah.
But he's the big mushroom guy.
Yeah.
This one seemed to be really health based, where they're talking a lot about the real health benefits of mushrooms.
Yeah. Sort of what interested me more, though, it was just recently this year, and we've listened to Joe talk about Amanita muscaria a few times.
Sure. That's the Christmas mushroom.
The Christmas mushroom. But I actually went deep and started looking into what happens when you get high and the dangers and all that. So that Amanita muscaria actually grows throughout Alberta pretty prevalently. You have to go looking
for
it,
because I've never seen one just randomly out and
You
about.
have to go off the trail. You have to go looking under birch trees. Like under birch trees is where you can find them a lot.
Okay.
But from everything I'm reading about it sounds so interesting, and it's not fun. It's not like taking some psilocybin where everybody giggles and has fun for like 4 hours.
I would have guessed it would be underneath an evergreen. Like a birch tree is a leafy, deciduous tree.
That's where they tend to be found, apparently.
Weird. I would have thought it would be underneath like a pine or a spruce.
Yeah, I think you can find them there too, but it's dangerous looking for them, because there's many cousins of this Amanita muscaria that'll fucking kill you dead.
That's not good.
Yeah, so you need to know what you're doing. But it's very interesting, the effect that it can have. It's kind of like a death of the ego, and you come back stronger, and it's debatable whether it's good for you or not. It's definitely dangerous.
Okay.
You can overdo it, but
maybe sort of more similar to an ayahuasca type of
Exactly,
experience.
Yeah.
Interesting.
More of a journey you're going through, and not so much of a fun trip. Like a lot of people talk about psilocybin like you're going to meet some beings, or like same with acid.
Well, psilocybin is very dose specific, right? Like,
for sure.
They talk about microdosing in this episode, where you can just have like 0.2 of a gram, and it doesn't really affect you psychologically at all. You just kind of feel a little bit better.
Feels good,
overall.
like being drunk almost. Like it's a giggly kind of.
Yeah, or even less than drunk. Just a very, very, very mild.
Mm-hmm.
But then you bump up to 1 to 2 grams, and that's the like giggly spot, and the like, oh my God, this is profound, where you feel like you're still very much in your own body, but just like experiencing everything as if it is the most profound thing that's ever happened to you. You come up. I always find you come up with something in your head where you're like, my God, I need to write this down so that I can share this experience with other people.
Right.
And you write something down, and then you go back and read it. You're like, eyes are the windows to the outdoors, and you're like, that makes no sense, and that is not profound at all. But in the moment, you're like, that was the most profound thing that has ever happened, because you just
I've had that for sure, man.
Yeah, you just have this clarity and this understanding of the world that is, you can't explain it unless you've actually been in that experience, and it's about knowing what the realm of possibility is. So that's in the 1 to 2 gram kind of scenario.
Yeah.
Being at a music festival, seeing a live band, it will be the most prolific experience of your life.
I need to do it. I need to go to the North Country Fair next year.
North Country Fair.
I think that's the spot for that.
It is absolutely. It's a psychedelic festival, and it is catered highly to psychedelic experiences.
Nice.
But then you go beyond the 1 to 2 grams, and you go to 3 to 5.
talking heroic
grams.
dose now.
That's heroic dose. That's what, and that is a transformative experience where you are no longer in your body, similar to smoking DMT with a blowtorch and a water bong. You have a couple hoots, and then while DMT only lasts 15 minutes, maybe a half an hour, it transports you to another dimension. And psilocybin mushrooms can absolutely do that in the higher doses, where you cease to be Shane Roach of Edmonton, Alberta.
So do you think you've been with a heroic dose? Or?
I have had heroic doses, but I don't feel like I've had the heroic experiences
That's where
that
I'm
I've
at,
heard
too.
people talk about.
But it has to do with mindset too. Like I think when I was doing fat loads of mushrooms, it was with a bunch of friends and like walking around, like fucking around, basically.
Yeah.
Not taking it seriously at all.
Those have been highly visual experiences for me.
Yeah.
Where like looking at the grass, looking at the trees,
100%,
looking at the pine
yeah.
needles of trees around, and you're like, oh my God, this is
No, shout out to
And-
Purple City here in Edmonton.
sure Purple City here in
You know,
Edmonton.
People would go take acid and go stare into the spotlights that shine up on the legislature building and then have your vision be purple for the next hour.
Yeah, or I mean, for me, it's maybe
Minus 10,000 brain cells too, probably. But
maybe it's an hour in mushroom time, but
Yeah.
when you can also do this with no mushrooms at all. You can stare into the lights and then look out at the city, and the city will look purple, but it's for 10 seconds,
right.
15 seconds, and I think on mushrooms it is the same amount of time,
It's
but
just you're so high.
you're so high, you're like, this seems like an hour.
My vision's altered irreparably.
Yeah,
forever.
When in actuality, no.
Yeah.
No, it's only about 10 seconds or 15 seconds.
Pretty tremendous experience.
But it is a cool experience to go through. Yeah.
Yeah.
Highly recommend.
Yeah.
Anyways, what was I saying about things?
Um,
Heroic doses and
heroic
such.
doses, yes.
It does depend on your mindset, set and setting, the most important thing with any drug.
Yeah.
Which is why you can have very bad trips if you do these kind of intense psychedelic drugs in the wrong setting, in the wrong place, in the wrong time,
Yeah.
with the wrong mental attitude going into it, you can really hurt yourself. So
You definitely
it's
can.
something, it's where I think that having a shaman is probably a pretty good thing. And shamans maybe get a little bit of a bad rap
Yeah.
because that name gets perverted by people.
Well, there's a
that-
lot of charlatans, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
But man, I would like that career. I would like to be a shaman for people.
That'd be fun. At the
and
very least, you should
guiding
have
them.
a sober person.
Yeah, at the very least, have a babysitter, because just knowing that there's someone there that's watching out for you will help get you into that space where you're not going to have a bad trip.
Yeah, you feel safer a little
Yeah.
bit.
But also being in environments that are designed to be comfortable. Like one thing about the North Country Fair, they have a spot called the Living Room, which is a spot for people that are too high to go and just kind of chill out. And there's people there that are sober that'll be like, hey man, you're just really high right now. It's not the end of the world. Don't worry. This is going to pass. This too shall pass. And you're going to be better for it. You're going to have new understanding of the world. And don't worry, calm down. It's okay.
Have you ever been there, do you think, where you're like actually scared?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
I have been, but I actually like, that's part of the fun for me. Like,
Yeah.
I've been in the dark place and then it's come back to the light place, and that's pretty fucking sweet too.
I remember at my old apartment, we did maybe 2 or 3 grams, and we were watching South Park, the bigger, longer, uncut movie, and I was like super, super high, and a commercial came on, and I was like, okay, now's a break. I'm going to escape this for a second. I went upstairs, and I went in my bedroom and laid down on my bed, and I was having these like head rushes that felt like all the blood was exiting my body and going directly into my head.
Oh shit.
And I was like, oh no, like I might be dying right now. This feels like this could be actual death. And so I'm like thinking about my life, and I didn't die, thank God, but I had this crazy head rushes, and I'm like, all right, this has been, totally lost track of time. I've been upstairs for maybe an hour, and this has been just like a intense experience, not unworthy. Like, I'm kind of glad that I had, even though it was a bad experience and I was freaking out a bit, I'm glad that I had the experience.
Yeah.
And then I went back downstairs, and the same commercial is still on. It had been like 15 seconds
Oh,
of me
shit.
being upstairs. I thought it was literally an hour or more.
Yeah.
And I go back downstairs, and the commercial ends, and I watch the rest of the movie. And it's one of the experiences that stands out in my life as one of the most prolific experiences I've ever had.
You like went outside time there for a while, basically.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
And I've had that a couple times with mushrooms.
Yeah. I've had it a couple times actually not high at all. Where like certain like accident situations where time completely almost stops and you can see everything happening in slow motion around you.
Yeah,
You know,
adrenaline causes that as well,
adrenaline, yeah.
for sure.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, Shane.
Some mushrooms.
Yeah,
Get some. Do them.
pretty good.
Strongly recommend.
We have not been doing mushrooms today, but we have been drinking heavily from the Buffalo Trace bourbon that you brought here. We had some eggnog, some festive
Basically
eggnog.
drank half the fucking bottle.
Yeah. Mixed with cognac and bourbon. That's just a really delicious holiday treat.
Mhm.
And important for our listeners, if you're going to make, if you get some store-bought eggnog and you're going to pour some booze in there, you don't want to go booze first the way you do with most cocktails because you'll curdle the eggnog and then it's gross. So
Yeah.
you want to pour the eggnog first and then slowly pour the alcohol. And like if you can stir while you pour, that'll help prevent it from curling.
Yeah.
Curling or curdling?
Curdling, I think.
Curdling
Yeah.
is their thing, but it's just hard to speak because I've had too many eggnogs.
Bunch of
and-
booze.
yeah, I also had some Coke and bourbon, and I'm drinking a Granville Island Winter Ale right now, which is another just dark, spicy beer that's delicious.
I'm going
love
to
it.
try it because it looks fucking good.
It's pretty good.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
We crushed a couple Kilkenies to start, too.
We did.
Yeah.
So,
So, yeah.
yeah, we're a little bit, if you can hear it in our voices, we're 1 or 2 sheets to the wind.
Yeah.
Maybe not quite 3, but definitely 1 or 2 sheets to the wind.
We're properly warmed up. Say
That's
that
right.
much.
All right. So you wanted to talk about some news stories as well, Shane.
Yeah. Other than the asshole sunning,
Yeah.
man, this is a news/UFC thing, but long-awaited return of Conor McGregor, January 2020 against Cowboy Cerrone
That's a good fight.
at 170, which is the part that keeps hitching me in my craw. Like,
Yeah. Like neither of them really belong there.
no,
Why not do it at 55? But I guess maybe it's because neither of them belong there that they feel they can both do it there and
Yeah.
not have to cut for the fight. Do you think that's the
well,
thing?
I saw a thing Chael Sonnen put up, and they think that, or he thinks that maybe it's angling towards getting Conor to fight Jorge, who, like, right off the bat seems fucking crazy.
Terrible match.
Jorge's obviously a 170, and he's killing the game at 170.
Yeah, I do not want to see that.
Jorge fucks Conor up. I think now, next year, the year after.
Yeah.
I think that's just what happens.
Yeah. Unless maybe Jorge could make 155 and be completely compromised, then maybe Conor
But
might
who wants
have
to
a
see that
chance.
either? I just
No,
want
of
to
course
see.
I don't want to see that.
Look, I think Jorge deserves a shot at the title, but even I don't think he even cares about that. He's bigger than that fucking title.
Yeah. We want to see Jorge fight at his best against other people at their best.
It-
And really, that's not just limited to Jorge. With all fighters, we want to see the fighter at their best fighting against another fighter at their best
Yeah.
in a similar weight class. They talked, Firas Zahabi was talking, and Rogan were talking about how basically it's like kind of legalized cheating
Yeah.
weight classes. And we love that ONE FC is trying to get rid of weight classes.
Why don't dudes just fight each other
Yeah.
at their real weight?
Figure out what your real weight is, and then that's your weight. And I love that they're doing testing, like hydration testing, to see what hydration you're at,
Yeah.
and making sure okay, your weight class is 170. You fight other people who, with stringent hydration testing, are also at 170, and then we can see like real competition between people.
I
Not
agree.
who's able
100%.
to cut the weight better.
Yeah. I don't
Especially-
care who cuts weight better.
Yeah, and it's dangerous. When you're cutting weight, you're thinning the blood barrier between your brain and your skull, which means your brain is going to get worse trauma bashing into your skull when you get hit.
Yeah.
So
There's
all
no
kinds of
bonus.
bad
I
news,
mean, I
man.
don't even see what bonus there is for the viewer. There's none.
No. But there's bonus for the fighter.
Mhm.
If you're able to do it and do it well, better than somebody else, then you can go back in. You can go into that fight being 10 pounds heavier than your opponent which is a huge advantage.
To me, this is the same thing as taking out the IVs. It's a no-brainer. The weight cutting should end.
it should.
It's going to be tough to control it, to get guys not to weight cut anymore.
Yeah.
That's the problem, right?
Yeah, that's what they've always said is if you have people like, because one way to do it is to just weigh people right before they get into the ring.
Mm-hmm.
But then you have people weight cutting and fighting without rehydrating at all.
Yeah.
And if you fight without rehydrating, that is more dangerous than weighing in the day before and allowing fighters to rehydrate.
Yeah.
Because without rehydrating, you have people just weight cutting and that blood, like I was talking about, that blood-brain barrier, you
Yeah.
just have people fighting and getting immense concussions from that.
Yeah.
Bad news bears.
Yeah, it's terrible. Terrible. Worst
All right.
thing in the UFC still is the weight cutting.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I want to see George St. Pierre come back and fight for the 155 title and be triple champ.
Versus Khabib.
Yeah, versus Khabib. I think he has a great chance
That's the fight to
against
make.
Khabib.
Yeah.
I understand that Tony Ferguson deserves a shot against Khabib. He absolutely does. They've tried to make that fight 5 times.
Yeah.
And twice Khabib pulled out, and twice Tony pulled out. I mean, forcibly, because he tripped over a lighting fixture in the back of a UFC
and that was
promotion.
fucked up too. That's where they took his belt away from.
I know.
him, too, which
That is absolutely
fucked
fucked up.
Yeah.
And so I totally think that Tony deserves a shot at the title. 100%. But what fight I want to see more than Khabib is I want to see George and Khabib.
Yeah.
Tony deserves it more than George, but I want to see George and Khabib more than I want to see Tony Khabib.
Do you imagine George comes back and takes the belt again and then dips out
fuck.
again?
At 155.
It's
That's
so
what I
fucking
want to
amazing.
happen. So make the fight with Tony and Khabib. Let's have Tony lose to Khabib. I
Yeah.
love Tony Ferguson, but I would like it if he lost to Khabib so that George St. Pierre can come back and fight at 155 and take the belt from Khabib.
Yeah.
That would be my perfect, because then you got to say George St. Pierre, best of all time, pound for
What
pound.
if Khabib's fucking George St. Pierre, though?
That would be
Wouldn't
sad.
that be the worst?
I don't want that. But yeah, I know. That is a possibility.
Khabib's people
It
all the
might
time.
be even a plausibility. But I would love to see George St. Pierre beat Khabib at his own
it'd
game.
be glorious.
I'd love to see George St. Pierre wrap up Khabib's legs in his legs and lay some ground and pound
Oh my god.
on him.
It'd be so satisfying.
That would be amazing.
There's no knockout I want more than Khabib's knockout. I swear to God, there isn't.
Yeah.
And it's not even fair because Khabib's amazing. But
He's great. I love Khabib as well. He does what he does very, very well. And his game plan seems to beat anyone else's game plan so far.
I blame my upbringings in the 80s for my hatred of Khabib because I grew up with the Rocky era. Rocky 4 was a motherfucker
Yep.
in my fucking childhood, and he
Yeah.
was against the Russian.
Absolutely. And the whole Cold War aspect of
Yeah.
it. We're conditioned to be,
We're not supposed to like Russians
racist.
that much.
almost, dare I say, racist against Russians.
No, you dare. We were raised racist.
Yeah.
We fucking shucked it ourselves.
It's like a racism that is still somehow allowed because they're white people.
Yeah.
But I do want to see GSP beat the shit out of Khabib for Canada and therefore the world.
Yes.
So I hope that matchup happens. I'm having trouble formulating sentences.
Getting a little buzzy. Okay, let's move on to our next thing.
Okay.
Edmonton's Robin Hood of chicken nuggets.
Yeah.
This man, his name is Cody Bondarchuk. Go follow him on Facebook. Send him a happy message.
Shout out to Cody Bondarchuk. I understand he worked at McDonald's and he was taking nuggets and just putting in, but was he making sure that it was for the poor or was he just
No,
randomly
randomly.
every person?
Every 10-pack of nuggets got an extra nugget
Right.
for years.
Because he assumed that probably anyone who's buying McDonald's is poor. And
Or
so
it's just random acts of kindness.
he's taking from the
or
rich
otherwise.
and giving to the poor
Yeah.
because everyone who buys
I mean, honestly, he
McDonald's-
gave to everybody.
Right.
Took from
So maybe a rich
a
person.
huge corporation and gave to everybody.
I don't like, one, because I work for a large corporation,
Yeah.
I'm a little bit like,
This
that's
is a
not,
problem.
That's not cool. Like if
This
my
is how we have
staff,
shortages.
yeah, if my staff are giving out extra things to people out, that would not be okay.
In a real way, it's taking away from raises and things that could go back to the employees.
It's
but
true. But also in another way, I'm like, man, good on you for just giving that extra nugget out to people.
Yeah.
But I wish that it was somehow given out to only people that really deserved it.
Yeah.
Because I'm sure there's a lot of cunts that got that 10-piece nugget meal. And
That's right, because
they
working
got-
the grill, you don't see who that food's
you
going
have no
to.
idea.
Yeah.
And they got that extra nugget, and they did not deserve it.
He probably gave nuggets to a child rapist
Probably.
at some point. You know? That's fucked up.
Yeah. But big story. You said Tom Hanks started following it.
Yeah, well, he tweeted out. What did he tweet? I can't remember what he tweeted, but Tom Hanks retweeted him and saying, "Oh, what a great guy, and this is what we need to
Yeah.
see in the world."
What a
which is a
nice-
funny message.
Feel good story for Christmas.
But
Steal
then
from people and
We
give
have
to other people.
we have a quote from Cody. "This is it. This is the greatest thing I will ever achieve." End
He's
quote.
peaked.
Yeah. Wow. Anyways,
I
and
was-
then to end things on a dark note for the news, Walt Harris's daughter has been found dead.
Ah.
And
Well, rest in peace.
I think we kind of knew that was going to happen.
Walt Harris's daughter.
It's too bad. If you want to go look on the internets, the Instagrams, all that, there's a nice quote for him about how his daughter changed his life for the better and such. Yeah, it's too bad.
What was the was it suicide?
The daughter?
Yeah.
No, she was kidnapped and murdered, and
Is that what
they
it was?
found her remains
Ah.
by two dudes. Yeah.
Ah. Did
Yeah.
they catch the dudes and
They did catch the dudes.
put it to them? Are they going to jail? What's going on?
Yeah,
with the dudes?
they're going to jail. They're going to do the whole court thing. Walt did put out a statement saying he wishes he could have his hands on them instead,
Yeah.
which I wish that too.
Yeah, that seems, I mean, it's social justice or
You know,
pejorative
that's a
justice.
fucked up way of thinking, though, because even if Walt did, who knows that wouldn't fuck his brain up for the future, you know what I mean?
It's true. I'm sure it wouldn't.
That's not how you fucking fix stuff. But
I don't really know
That's the
the
instinct.
story.
well, his daughter went missing back in October of 2018. And obviously she had been kidnapped. And yeah, he's just been really heavy on social media.
And Walt Harris is like a boxer?
He's a UFC fighter.
Oh, he was a UFC fighter.
I thought did we not cover this last
I don't
time?
think so.
I thought we did. Maybe it was in my head.
Oh, maybe we did, and I was not ignoring you for a while.
Hmm.
That seems to happen sometimes. I get distracted by what else is going on my computer or phone, or
Especially how drunk we get lately.
yeah,
Yeah.
it seems like crazy.
Yeah.
But yeah. So Walt Harris was a UFC fighter. His daughter was kidnapped
Yeah.
for ransom,
Not even. She was just
randomly
the old
kidnapped
kidnap and murders.
for the sake of
trope.
kidnapping.
Yeah.
That's not good.
No.
So they caught the guys first, and then the daughter died,
yeah,
like in a hospital or something.
They caught the one guy like a month ago, and I think maybe a week ago they caught another guy that was involved. And yeah, just like I don't know, days ago they found the body of the daughter.
That sucks.
Yeah, it's terrible. His stepdaughter.
Well, hopefully those dudes that did that. I believe in the death penalty for people that do things as fucked up as
Certain
that.
things.
Yeah.
Certain things.
If you're willing to kill somebody else in a strategic, planned out,
Yeah.
especially, and, I assume that this is like sort of rape, like for your jollies, like killing,
Yeah.
and, anything kid, like if you're going to take any kind of child and do anything to a child,
Yeah.
put them out of their misery, put them out of our misery.
Yeah.
Let's get them out of the planet.
Why are they going to cost us money?
Yeah, I'm not into it. So I'm kind of in favor of the death penalty.
Yeah.
The downside is because our justice system is not 100% perfect, that we kind of accept that there will be people who it just looks like they did the
Mhm.
wrong thing. when
Innocent people are going to
innocent
die.
people are going to die.
And that's where it gets weird.
And we
'cause
have
right
to
in the
accept
states
that.
happens a lot. In
Uh,
certain states where the death penalty exists,
Yeah, I mean,
there's a lot of corruption.
I don't
involved.
think it happens a lot. I think it happens 1 to 3% of the time.
Yeah, no, you're right.
And-
When I say a lot, it's prevalent in the media.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That is a lot considering the
Yeah.
consequences of what it is.
Mhm.
To kill even one person out of 1,000 guilty people
Yeah.
it's a lot.
But then
but
there's the
I think
there's the
it's worth it.
racism issue too, right?
Yeah,
How many
because
black
you're-
dudes are going down for things they didn't do?
It's true. You're catching way more black people. Now, I don't know if the death penalty is as racist as the general, police picking up
Yeah, I don't
black
know.
people. I don't think it is. Maybe it is. I don't really know.
Yeah.
I'm not up to date on all the statistics.
Yeah.
Anyways, it's dark and
There needs to be a good
don't like
solution, and keeping them alive and paying for them to live for another 40 fucking years doesn't seem like the right one,
no,
especially to a parent who just lost their child. you know?
unless we can make them contribute somehow in a beneficial way, like by somehow getting them to reduce the amount of current child killing
Yeah.
kidnappers there are out there.
Wasn't there a movie, maybe it was Minority Report, where they like made them live out like 20 years of being in jail like really quickly, like in like a day of like being plugged in, like they think in their head it's been 50 years, but like
Sounds like Black Mirror.
just make them live it hard for like, but then like not cost us a lot of money, and they still have another chance at being a good citizen after.
I don't know. Maybe it was. All right, Shane, let's wind things down here. We'll talk maybe a little bit about our UFC predictions for the upcoming fights.
Which is next weekend, I believe, unless I'm quite mistaken. I'm pretty sure it's next weekend.
Can't believe it's coming up that quickly.
It's coming up soon, anyways. But the main event for 245 we've got coming up here is Kamaru Usman versus Colby Covington.
Usman all day.
I got Usman mostly because I want Usman to win, because Covington's kind of a piece of shit.
Well, I mean, Frost and Joe talked a lot about how he's not actually a piece of shit. He's playing the heel in a sort of, world wrestling entertainment
Yeah.
sort of a way, which I can appreciate. But also, yeah, he does come across like a piece of shit.
It doesn't
So
matter
I
for me
want
what he
Usman.
really is,
It's true.
because I don't know him. All I know is this piece of shit persona I'm seeing in my face all the time.
Yeah, that's absolutely true.
So if I had the benefit of Joe and actually met him, I'd say the same thing. But
yeah.
yeah,
I don't know if that's why or if it's because Colby is I don't know. Joe says he's the nicest guy, and he was on the verge of being kicked out of the UFC, so he kind
Yeah.
of came up with this WWE persona to play, and that it's the complete opposite of who he is. But that said, it doesn't matter. It makes me want Kamaru Usman
Yeah.
to beat the shit out of him.
But also he
I
did
can't
that.
help it, even
all that-
knowing.
He was going to be cut because he's a boring fighter.
That's true.
He is
yeah,
a boring
just
fighter.
super, super conditioned endurance athlete.
Gives
That-
50%.
All of his
100%
strikes,
of the
yeah,
time.
he's knocking out no one. Has he ever won by knockout?
No.
Probably not, eh?
He's not going to either.
Yeah, he's an endurance athlete, great athlete,
Sure.
maybe even a good fighter. And in real life, if you can wear somebody out by taking shots to the face for 5 rounds
Yeah.
and then beat them in the end, it doesn't really matter. You are winning in the end.
Yeah.
And it does matter who wins in the end. But it is a boring way to get
There will
there.
never be a BMF hung on that fucking dude.
No,
Never.
that is absolutely true.
So I got Usman, and I got knockout in the 3rd round, which is not common for Usman. but
Okay.
That's my guess.
Okay. I like it.
I might put
there's,
money on this one.
there's also Holloway and Volkanovski.
Yeah. I've got Holloway again. I've got Holloway via decision, though. No knockout here.
Okay. I mean, based on the weight class, that's a pretty safe bet. Not going.
I don't
to the
think
knockout.
Volkov's long enough. He's short. Holloway's got these long arms, and he's so technical.
Yeah.
I just don't see Volkanov's power getting in there.
Okay.
That maybe, but I've got decision Holloway.
I mean, if you're looking at records, Volkanovski is 21-0, and Holloway is 21-4-0.
Yeah.
So Holloway has more losses, but in his last 5 fights, Holloway has looked pretty
Holloway
spectacular.
fights the world beaters.
Yeah.
Who's Volkanov been fighting?
Yeah, it's true.
Right.
So I kind of agree. Holloway is my instinct. I don't know about, I think a decision.
I mean,
Holloway
I very much
decision.
hope for Holloway too. Like, don't
Yeah.
get me wrong. I know
I'd love
Volkanov's dangerous, but
For sure. And I'd love to see a Holloway 4th or 5th round knockout
yeah.
as well.
Oh, totally.
But probably not going to happen.
yeah, can't see it. But we'll see.
Amanda Nunes and Jermaine Durandame. Durandame, fucking hate Durandame.
Hate Durandame so much.
So
And now Nunes is the champ of both belts. Once
Yeah.
Durandame had that champ belt.
that's right. Cheering for Nunes hard. I hope Nunes knocks her out in the 1st or 2nd round. That's my instinct of what will happen and also what I hope will happen.
Yeah, me too. I think it might go first, second, maybe third, but I think a TKO, not necessarily a knockout, but I think it might be stopped due to strikes.
Okay. Yeah. Exactly. Me too.
Yeah.
And I hope that it's in the first round.
De Rondemay's big, man. She's a really big bitch. She's a lot bigger than Nunes.
Fair enough.
But, I mean, length. We'll see. But I think Nunes is, after what I saw Nunes do to Cyborg, I will never doubt Nunes again.
Cyborg, the most scary woman of all time.
Yeah.
And Nunes handled her.
And by the way, de Randamie
Handily.
was scared of Cyborg. She fled the belt.
Yeah.
She was the belt holder and fled it because
Yeah.
she didn't want to fight Cyborg.
And it was de Randamie that had those cheap extra shots on Holly
against
Holm
Holm
too, right?
She should never have had the belt.
So,
That's right.
Yeah. That automatically makes me hate de Randamie because of that. But
Yeah.
anyways, Nunes all the way, 100%.
100%.
And Marlon Moraes versus Jose Aldo? That's a crazy fight.
But this is Aldo at 135, so this is new for us.
Bantamweight, yeah.
I don't know. I mean, I hope it's Aldo because I actually like Aldo a lot. And
Yeah.
Moraes, I couldn't give 6 fucks about. But
Fair enough.
but Aldo's had a rough go, and I really want him to get back to it here.
Yeah, I don't know. I want Aldo. Aldo is always going to be most famous for getting knocked out by Conor McGregor.
That's true. I didn't
And-
care about Aldo before that fight. That's true.
So I feel bad for him that's kind of his legacy.
Yeah.
But winning this fight or losing this fight isn't going to change that at all.
No, his legacy's set already.
Yeah. So whatever. I'll watch it, but it's not the biggest fight of ever.
No.
Peter Yan and Uriah Faber.
Okay.
Also,
This
bantamweight.
is interesting. Peter Yan's a motherfucker, and we just saw him. I can't remember who he beat, but we watched him at your place not that long ago, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
And he fucked that dude up.
He's only had 13. He's 13-1-0. So he's only had like 14 kind of professional fights.
Yeah.
Uriah Faber, however, 35 wins, 10 losses. He's had a significant amount of losses and 0.
And he's coming back
Draws.
against this lion.
Yeah. It doesn't look good. Uriah Faber, he's the like California kid, right?
Yeah.
That's what they call him.
Yeah. With the bum chin.
Yeah.
I
Seems
should
like
call him the bum chin.
Seems like a nice guy.
He seems like a
Probably-
fucking douche to me.
I think he's
It's
going to
like-
lose in this fight. I can't see him winning, but he's kind of got the surfer kind of mentality, right?
Yeah. He's
Hey,
that whole
dude.
team alpha male thing.
Oh, right.
He's
Did
the
he
leader of
start
that
Team
thing.
Alpha
Yeah.
Male? Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't know. Cody Garbrandt's a product of him. So if that's
Right.
how Cody is, I feel like that's probably a little bit how Uriah is too. So
Right. I wasn't thinking about that at all.
that's your fucking, I don't know, your cool kid group that I'm not fucking part of.
Yeah.
So-
I guess. I mean, he is one of the sort of most historical figures, especially in bantamweight.
no, he's been around for a hot minute.
You know, he's
Yeah.
he's back to the very beginning of the UFC. I feel like he was fighting in somewhere in those single or early double digit.
And never had a
UFCs.
belt. I think he's had 4 shots at it and never won the belt.
Right, that was his,
So-
his kind of claim to fame,
He's kind of unclaimed,
which
fame.
sucks. Poor guy.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I wanted to like Faber for a long time, but I don't know if he's my style.
Yeah.
I'm going for Yan here.
Okay.
I actually predict Yan's going to knock him out.
I predict Yan as well, not because necessarily I like Yan better, but also just because I think that's what's likely to happen.
I think that's what's going to happen. Yeah.
All right.
Yep.
So there's some picks for you, everyone. And now, Shane, you had a song. Let's finish on a song here.
Yeah.
And you were telling me about this mashup. It's a band called the Reubs,
The Reubens.
which is awesome.
Yeah.
I'm
and
a
random.
fan.
I didn't go looking for bands called Reuben.
I'm a fan already.
Yeah.
But this band called the Reubens, they did a cover and they kind of mashed up 2 songs.
Yeah.
And it's not the original versions. It's this band's version of both of these songs they
Yeah.
kind of put together.
Beautiful cut. So that's King Kunta by Kendrick Lamar and
Yeah.
mashed up with Adele, her song Hello.
Yeah. And this is what's known as an arrangement.
Is that what you call that?
Yeah, it's not a mashup. Like a mashup is when you take the actual
Yeah.
original versions of those songs and you put them together.
That's like a hot mix.
That's a mashup.
Yeah.
But when you just do a cover, this is a medley. You're doing a
Mm.
medley of these 2 different songs.
Yeah.
But we'll listen to it now, and maybe we'll go out on this here 54 minutes
And this
into
is
the
cut
episode.
from Like a Version. It's a channel on YouTube. Check it out. They do
Awesome.
a lot of cool things.
All right. Thanks, everyone. Love you guys. Go to our Amazon and buy things there somehow.
Yeah.
I don't know. Do whatever you can do to support
Send us
the podcast.
a question or a message.
Tell a
or
friend.
whatever
Talk
you
to
wanna
us.
do.
Love you guys.
We'll
Thanks
see
for
you
listening.
soon.
Bye-bye.
Hello, it's me. I've been wondering if after all these years you'd like to meet to go over everything. They say that I'm supposed to heal you, ain't done much healing. Hello, can you hear me? I'm in California dreaming about who we used to be when we were younger and free. I've forgotten how it felt before the world fell at our feet. There's such a difference between us and a million miles. Hello from the other side. I must have called 1,000 times to tell you I'm sorry for everything that I've done. When I call, you never seem to be home. Hello from the outside. At least I can say that I tried to tell you I'm sorry for breaking your heart. But it don't matter, it clearly doesn't tear you apart anymore. Hello, how are you? It's so typical of me to talk about myself. I'm sorry. I hope that you're well. Did you ever make it out of that time when nothing ever happened? It's no secret that the both of us are running out of time. Hello from the other side. I must have called 1,000 times to tell you I'm sorry for everything that I've done. When I call, you never seem to be home. Hello from the outside. At least I can say that I tried to tell you I'm sorry for breaking your heart. But it don't matter, it clearly doesn't tear you apart anymore. Hello from the other side. I must have called 1,000 times to tell you I'm sorry for everything that I've done. When I call, you never seem to be home. Yeah, hello from the outside. At least I can say that I tried to tell you I'm sorry for breaking your heart. It don't matter, it clearly doesn't tear you apart anymore.
Wow, kind of just ended there in the middle of the song.
It ended quick. Yeah.
I kind of like those endings, actually,
yeah.
where it sort of leaves you hanging, leaves you wanting more.
Yeah. Yeah. Interesting
tune.
thing about the lead guitarist of that.
Yeah.
His pick hand, he's still got his fingers on his string hand, but his pick hand, he only has a thumb and like stumps.
Is that right?
He's
Eh?
literally playing like.
So does he grip the pick between a thumb and a stump, or does he
Well,
tape it all?
there's like this barest of nub on a couple of the fingers, so
Right,
he's
right.
barely like holding the pick. Like,
Wow,
you got to see the video; it's pretty sick.
that is crazy. I didn't
Yeah.
know that. I'm
Yeah.
gonna go check that out. All right, team, we're gonna finish off with some Joe jokes here.
Let's do
Shane wrote one. Excuse me,
It's a Joe joke.
Shane. I'm looking forward to it. Give me your Joe joke.
Okay. What do deer, fat joints, and Porsche tires have in common?
Can all be bald?
They all get smoked by our man Joe Rogan.
Oh, that's a good one. Well done, Shane. I think that's your best Joe joke yet.
Thanks, man. It's my second only, but
It's definitely better than the last one.
oh, so much better.
I got one. You know what? It's a bit of a cheat. It's not a real. I didn't write it, but it's sort of a tribute. It's definitely Joe Rogan related, and it falls into your related to your Joe joke. So, what is the cheapest kind of meat?
Oh man.
Deer balls, always under $1. All right, so that's my
pretty
Joe
good,
joke
though.
of the
I like
day.
that one.
Yeah, I didn't write it, but it's sort of a groaner and sort of a
Yeah.
it's like a street joke, right? So yeah.
So as a takeaway before we get out of here, first of all, if you don't have Disney Plus, that's fine. But you need to see The Mandalorian. If you like Star Wars,
You're saying you love it.
you
I love
pretend you're a Star
Wars.
Wars fan,
I
you
am.
need to see Mandalorian.
Have not seen Mandalorian.
It's
so
a throwback to the original
I'm
Star
gonna go
Wars.
check it out. I'm excited.
It's so fucking good. It's like Westerns and Star Wars all rolled into one, and I fucking love it.
Awesome.
Yeah.
I'm down.
And also, you might see us at Kill Tony, January 23rd. I've been talking to Reubs. I want to go. And I've been
January
working
23rd.
on a minute of stand-up material.
Me
'cause
too.
I'm going to go, and I'm
One
going to
of
get
us
up
might
there.
get up. That would be
Can
fun.
you imagine if both of us did?
If both of us or none of us. Either way, awesome to go.
And a Calgary show, I'm going to roast Calgary. Fuck
I
you,
love it.
Calgary.
I didn't even think about that.
Edmonton's coming in hot.
I love it. Okay, thanks everyone for listening. We'll get at you soon.
Sounds good. We'll see you soon.
Hey there, Joe Rogan, super fan. This podcast is for you, my man. Or woman, or non-binary. Our recaps will be legendary. The Rogan Report Podcast. Come on, you'll have a blast at the Rogan Report Podcast.